A quick look at what's been making the headlines over the weekend. First up, Labour's Deputy Leader, Harriet Harman, has said that she believes one of the top posts in government should always be held by a woman. She said, "I don't agree with all male leaderships. Men cannot be left to run things on their own. I think it's a thoroughly bad thing to have a men-only leadership. And I think a balanced team of men and women make better decisions." So, does she have a point? Can men not be left to run things on their own?
Do you know what? This woman makes my blood boil. Absolutely. When is she going to stop it? You know, the thing is, she's being as sexist as... You know, can you imagine if it was the other way round and that was being said? It just wouldn't happen. And I just... You know, she's got to stop it. The point is, it doesn't really matter who runs the country. It doesn't matter if the entire government is made up of white, middle-class, old Etonians. Who cares? As long as they put the country first, as long as their best interests are our best interests, then I don't care who does it. I don't care if it's a man, woman, a chimp could do it. But as long as they do it quite well, and not themselves.
I agree. I don't think it matters whether it's a man, woman, animal, beast, whatever. But I can see her point. And I think there are things that, you know, women do bring certain things to the table, you know, in a committee kind of voting situation. I just think she's made her point really badly. If it wasn't... It's just a shame it's Harriet Harman making the point, because I think she's actually just, you know, made a mess of it. Because she's undermined women by saying that a woman should always be in the job just because she's a woman. I think the woman has to be there.
To women.
Well, because we don't care, like you say, as long as they can do the job properly. We don't care if it's a man or a woman. I've got a feeling maybe she's after the top job. Is she kind of like setting up a little position for herself?
Well, I think the unfortunate thing is that even if that were to happen, if she were to get her way, you would have no respect or authority as the preordained woman in that position, because everyone would just say you're only there because you're a woman, because it's tokenism. So I don't think it would work. I think it's a band-aid. Again, I kind of with Lisa, and I see what she's trying to do in some ways, but I think you have to not stick a band-aid at the top. You have to go to the grassroots level, and what stops most women going into politics is you cannot combine the demands of being at Westminster with a family.
Isn't it? How can you run a family?
So she's got to try and make that work somehow at a grassroots level, and then just let the cream float to the top.
But I actually do agree that I do think there should be more women in politics, but not because they should be, but because they're good at their job.
Or because
yeah, exactly.
Well, Margaret
Thatcher got nothing to do with that.
You know, terribly good at her job, but she wasn't like a woman, though, was she?
No, she was like a man.
Everybody else would go on after that, you know. How can she possibly be a woman if she's that good a politician?
I do actually agree that men do make a mess of things, but that's life.
Left on their own. Well, you know.
Now, Harriet Harman has also given her endorsement to a campaign launched by a Liberal Democrat MP, Jo Swinson, who has called for airbrushed celebrity shots to be banned. The new campaign is warning that pictures of perfection cause huge emotional and psychological problems for teenage girls. So, should a law be introduced to ban the use of airbrushing in magazines?
What about the psychological damage it does to women of our age? Not to be airbrushed. I think there is some truth in the fact that, you know, young kids do get these ideal-looking women in magazines, and they do aspire to be like it a lot of the time. And yes, I do think, I know it seems a bit radical, but I do think there should be a law, because I think it's the only way that certain people won't cheat and say, oh, I've not been airbrushed, but have been. There has to be a law to ban it 100%.
If you're going to do it, do it 100%
and get a law to do it.
What does it matter, though? I mean, it really doesn't. Why can't people distinguish between reality and fantasy?
I don't think they can.
It's not just people, it's children. It's youngsters who are vulnerable and impressionable, and they think that these pop stars that are photographed in very little clothing with perfect bodies haven't been touched by any airbrush.
But they do think that.
No, I don't think so, Sherrie. I think most people, I think we are a little, you know, because we've been in this business a long time, presume that, you know, the general public at large are sort of as savvy about it as we are, because we're a little bit behind the scenes. But I think what would be good is don't do the ban on airbrushing, but you have to state this photograph has been airbrushed. So that people know that what you're seeing is not actually what the person looks like.
I quite like looking at magazines with pictures of nice people. Looking good, looking perfect. You know, not fat. I don't want to to see people posing in magazines, models. You know, people say, oh, let's have real models with bits of fat hanging over. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people with acne in magazines. I don't want that. I want to see something.
You know, I think it's all taken a little bit too seriously, you know, for goodness sake. I mean, the thing is, I agree with you, people should know they're airbrushed, but everybody should be airbrushed, particularly me. So as long as I'm airbrushed, I'm happy with everybody being airbrushed.
Yeah, I want a law to make it compulsory.
So you can't be airbrushed in real life, you know, like you could just at home through the windows.
Finally, this weekend, there has been talk that the East Stand at St James's Park in Newcastle will be renamed after Sir Bobby Robson, who sadly passed away on Friday. His wife, Elsie, was pictured yesterday weeping at Newcastle United's ground whilst looking at the hundreds of floral tributes left for the former England manager. Now, one woman who knew the man is fellow Geordie, our very own Denise Welsh, and she is on the phone now. Denise, such sad news.
Hello, it was absolutely sad news. I mean, he was just one of the most loved people in the northeast, if not the country, and we were incredibly fortunate because last weekend I actually went by default. There was a testimonial for Sir Bobby's charity, which was his last public appearance, and Tim was on the ground on the pitch there as a guard of honour. Little Louis got to give him a kiss and shake his hand, and actually Gazza, Paul Gascoigne's sister Anna, had been babysitting Louis the night before, so we all ended up in Gazza's box watching it, and Anna and I and Lindsay, his other sister, crying as Sir Bobby was wheeled onto the pitch, bless him. And you should have heard the roar of the crowd was just, you know, absolutely fantastic.
What do you think? What was it, Denise, about him? What was it about him that made him so beloved?
He was a gentleman, Jackie, really. He was a gentleman. And people always said, obviously never having been a footballer, I never experienced that side of him. But people said that with his managerial skills, he managed to get the point over in a completely non-bullying way. And every single footballer that I've ever spoken to that's ever worked with him or has ever crossed his path has said that he was almost like a father. I know that Paul Gascoigne does really think he was like a second father to him. He was a lovely man. His wife was great fun, took the mickey out of him. We, if you remember earlier this year, Tim and I were honoured by the Variety Club with the first joint Silver Heart award in Newcastle, and we were just, we were so thrilled to be joined by many of our friends, including our lovely Jane. But Sir Bobby made the effort to come with Elsie, and we had a lovely chat, and there she was taking the mickey out of him, and you know, they had a fantastic relationship. She's a bit like me, so she doesn't know if it would have survived if they'd been together 24/7, so we had that in common, me and Elsie. But no, they're a lovely couple, a lovely family, and he'll be a huge miss. But you know, he's battled that disease for 20 years, God love him.
Yeah, he did very well.
Yeah.
He did very well. Denise, thank you. Thank you for taking the time, my love. You take care.
Thank you. Miss you, girls.
Miss you too. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Denise Welsh. Thank you. Time